Hello and welcome back to another one of my YouTube guides. Today we'll be looking at Whirling Slash Amazon Accuracy Stack in the current 0.21 patch. So, I'm making this guide to be more comprehensive. If somebody's just coming into the build right now, this video should give them all the background they need. There's going to obviously be a max roll attached, but they shouldn't have to be jumping between different videos to get the full picture. So this is going to be as if you're brand new to Amazon Accuracy Stacker. You don't need to watch any of the previous videos that I've covered this build with. This is going to be from scratch. So we're going to spend the first bit talking, and then I will, at the end of the video, just have clips of me doing some different content, particularly map and a Breachstone. So, first, what is Amazon Accuracy Stack? This is where we use the Amazon Huntress, and we stack a lot of accuracy, specifically for this node, Falcon Dive. 1% increased attack speed per 250 accuracy rating. And if you look at my Whirling Slash, we are sitting at a nice 57,000 accuracy rating with over 7 attacks per second. So why is this so important? The main reason for this is because we want to go fast. Whirling Slash is nice for being able to clear very quickly and move very quickly is really the main thing. And as you go deeper into the end game, you want to move. So this is an example of just our speed and movement, and using 40% move speed boots. Now you can go higher than this, and you see that we're significantly slower. One thing that I hear a lot is glitched. People on PoE Ninja have so much more damage with Whirling Slash than you. And if you pull up any of their builds on PoB, you'll see that their attack rate is somewhere in the region of 3 to 4 attacks per second. So let me take off my Lycoside and show you with support swapped. Now we're at 3.31. This is very similar to what a lot of those high damage Whirling Slash builds look like. And suddenly you see that we're moving really slow. So again, the point of this build is to move fast. If you're not moving fast, then there's far less reason to be running this build. But anyway, this is a primarily Whirling Slash build. Most of our clearing and mapping is going to be with Whirling Slash. Then our boss killing is going to be done with Rapid Assault and Blood Hunt. And the reason we have 2 Whirling Slash is because you can snapshot Whirling Slash as a base. So we have our large Whirling Slash, and we accomplish this by using a weapon swap with a lot of area of effects spec'd in, as well as using a lot of area of effect supports on our Whirling Slash. So you see now it's significantly larger than it was before. You can also use talismans to increase area of effect. And that's our large one compared to our, as if we just did not do any area of effect at all. And it works because Whirling Slash, every stage, which is 3 stages, every time you use it, it goes up a stage up to a max of 3, plus 3 to radius per additional stage. And that's how we're able to get such a large Whirling Slash. It also snapshots things like shock magnitude, because Whirling Slash can pick up, or your Whirlwind can pick up ground effects. So you see now we have it at shocked. You can do it with cold, you can do it with fire, which is how the Incinerate version works. So that's how Whirling Slash plays in general. Whirling Slash, the Whirlwind will reapply shocked to all enemies inside it. If you apply shock to it, obviously. Chill if it's the cold one. Ignite if it's the Incinerate version. Further, the Whirlwind will also blind and slow enemies within it. So it is quite a powerful mechanic. It also gains 50% of the damage as the corresponding type, so for us, lightning in this build. So yes, Whirling Slash is quite strong and covers a large area, and we can move extremely quickly. I also swapped out the core, my attack speed core, which would bring me to about 7.35. In exchange for a gain 6% of damage, it's extra damage of all elements. I was doing some testing with Trinity. So, for bossing, we go Rapid Assault, and we just stab the boss, build up combo with Blood Hunt, and then we, boom, Blood Hunt, and kill the boss. well, Infernal Cry, then Blood Hunt, and the boss dies. For spirits, we are going to be running Wind Dancer, Herald of Thunder, Blasphemy. These are just general mapping supports, and then Berserk is a nice damage boost. Again, if you don't have enough spirit, don't worry about it. This is not a requirement. Neither is Blasphemy. So depending on your gear and the tier of your gear, when I say tier, as in like you have budget, lower end, mid, and high end gear, it can be very hard to fit the spirit in. Don't worry about it. Your Wind Dancer Herald of Thunder combo is your primary combo, and if you are only running the 100 base spirit, then your last slot is either Berserk or Ghost Dance. I would say Ghost Dance is probably going to feel better for mapping, but Berserk is nice for damage. The other thing to note is Berserk has a very high strength cost. Outside of Berserk, our Infernal Cry is our highest strength requirement at 60. Sorry, the spear would be at 64. So you have somewhere around 64 strength requirement in the build, which almost doubles, or pretty much doubles, with Berserk. So if you can't fit the Berserk in, don't worry about it. It's not required. Let's get into gearing. First, you're going to see I have a rare spear in. Rare spears are very expensive. Very, very, very expensive. So this is keeping in mind that these spears would probably be worse than what I'm currently running. These two spears here would be worse than what I'm currently running, or about the same. And 250 divs a month ago, 300 divs 2 days ago, and then we're up to 800 divs already. So it's not cheap to run rare spears. Don't worry, you can use Tangle Tongue. Tangle Tongue is great, still works for this build. And you can get an attack speed corrupt as well, so you can really push the attacks per second to a good amount. So you see my spear here, without the attack speed core, is over 2 attacks per second. Here we have 1.79. It will make quite a big difference cascading through. So you see, I can just swap these through, and you can see the difference on my attacks per second down to 6.21. So that a roughly 0.2 difference, 0.24 difference in the local attack speed of the spear does cascade to quite a significant difference on the Whirling Slash. But again, budget is budget. You can't expect to have everything if you are on a stricter budget. So Tangle Tongue is fine to start with until you can build up to a good rare spear. Next, everything is going to want accuracy on it. As much accuracy as you can get. If you're going to be using Tangle Tongues, flats on rings are going to be more important to start with until you can get rings with both flats and accuracy. So here I have triple T1, flats and accuracy. Here I have triple T1 as well, but this one's fire instead of lightning. I would have preferred lightning. And I also have another emerald ring somewhere with triple T1, lightning fizz, and accuracy. So this would be like the ideal. I'm running an unset because I have enough spirit to fit in Berserk and enough strength. Speaking of amulets, rare amulets equally are not cheap for the build. Already just looking for stuff like a nice crit damage roll, or like an all attributes and crit chance or crit damage starts getting quite a bit more expensive, especially if you want spirit on top. So here, 350 divs, double crit, spirit plus 3 melee. This one looking really nice. Still has a flat energy shield, not ideal, and it's not a great base, but still 350 divines. Not cheap. 1,300 divines. I'm not buying that one, but again, rare amulets can get quite expensive. Meanwhile, Astramentus with the 0.21 patch has gotten significantly cheaper. It's gone down about 4 divs in the last 12 hours, and from pre-patch, it was around 160 divs uncorrupted, down to less than 40 divines right now. So it is less than a quarter of what it originally was before the 0.21 patch. So Astramentus is a really good way to fill out all your attribute requirements very easily, as we do have a very tight budget here in terms of strength dex int. We need over 200 dex. We need around 157 int for our chest piece, and then strength depends more on what you're running. But if you are going to run Berserk, then you will need 133 strength. So Astramentus could be good for filling out all your attribute requirements very easily, and it would also allow you to spec into Jack of all trades if you want to go that route. So don't be afraid. Astra is nice. But to min-max, you're going to move away from it for something with accuracy +3. I ran all attributes on mine because I want those attributes. So I can run Berserk. And then just a mix of what you can get from there. Helmet, similarly, push as much ES as possible with accuracy. So these are triple perfect prefix. And then you want as much res, crit chance, attribute, whatever you can get on the suffixes. Gloves are where you can get amazing damage suffixes. So I'll show you these here. I have crit damage, attack speed, melee. This is the ideal suffix for gloves. Obviously, they're not the highest tiers, but this would be the ideal suffix for gloves. Keep in mind, you do need Mana Leech in the build. This is a hard requirement in the build. Whether you get it on gloves or rings is irrelevant, but you do need it in the build. So keep that in mind. None of my good rings have Mana Leech on them, so I'm forced to run it on gloves, otherwise I would be using these gloves. But for now, I'm going to be running gloves with Mana Leech. But you remember, you do need it in the build. Whirling Slash does a lot of physical damage. Rapid Assault does a lot of physical damage, so we're able to upkeep our mana that way without really ever having to press our Mana Flask, unless you're in a situation where you're going to be moving a lot with Whirling Slash and you don't have any enemies to leech from. In which case, that's generally when you're going to be pressing your Mana Flask. Ingenuity, obviously for min-maxing purposes, Ingenuity is great, as we get to push our damage and our accuracy on the rings, something that you can't generally get on the belt. Otherwise, if you need resistances, you want to fill out resistances because you don't have as many good suffixes on the rest of your gear, totally fine, use a rare belt, fill out your resist, get some life, get some mana on there. Good to go. Don't worry about the belt. This is just for min-maxing. Otherwise, rare belts are perfectly acceptable. Flasks, you really need to get a Mana Flask with 70% increased charges. Very important. And then otherwise, Lycoside is a very cheap shield. You will need one. Accuracy rating is doubled. This is obviously for an accuracy stack. This is crazy good. I specifically bought one with a higher block chance. So we have 36% block chance on this one. Even if it's a 40% roll, it's still only 36. And then I spec'd into Glancing Blows, so we double that to a 72. You can also have it corrupted with a block chance implicit, which would allow you to hit 75% with Glancing Blows. But I honestly found just more value in having the second socket. But things to consider. Chest piece, push as much defense as you can here. You have the option of either going if you have the budget, Spirit is a great option, or you can get with the Essence of, I can't remember what the name is. Essence of Delirium. You can have an allocated notable. So here I have Electric Amplification on my Vile Robe, so you can get that as well. Things to consider. Spirit is more generic, but at the same time, let's say I wanted to just remove this and have an extra slot, because right now I have to run an unset to support all this. I could just use my Soul Coat Vile Robe and not run Blasphemy. Problem is, I don't have the attributes for this. So, variants, you can run Deepest Tower. You can also run Tabula Rasa. Tabula Rasa works really well when you stack jewels like this. Evasion, accuracy, crit. You can also go with attack speed and attack speed and accuracy rating lines as well. But if you're going to run Tabula on a general basis, you must really push evasion. So every one of your emeralds should have evasion on it. And this scales because we are running high evasion boots. So you can see my evasion rating scale with those boots. I have 1100 evasion rating boots. You can easily get 900 plus from the market with triple res for a matter of a couple of divs. And this scales well because of Stalking Panther. Evasion rating from equipped helm, gloves, and boots is doubled. Evasion from equipped body armor is halved. This is not defenses from equipped body armor is halved. It is just evasion, meaning that we are able to go with a very efficient hybrid build by going with a pure ES chest piece and then pure evasion boots. We don't need to have move speed in the boots, so it makes it very cheap to get high evasion and get a ton of evasion rating that way. So hopefully that covers the gearing. Let's move on to our tree. So we're going to spec through the normal Huntress path all the way to the bottom. Here you have a choice. You can either take attack speed or you can take attack damage. Honestly, this attack speed is very minor. Meanwhile, our attack percent in the tree is much more limited. So I changed my spec to here. This is more personal preference. If you have enough damage and you want to just take the attack speed, no problem there. Sector hero accuracy rating is a given at this point. Our first big notable that we're going to take is Precision Salvo. Lots of accuracy and attack speed for 4 points. Spec through the Jewel Socket. You can take Cooked. I'm a couple points short from how I want my build set up, and it also reduces global defenses. So I don't have Cooked yet, but at 97, I would probably pick this up. You can also just move stuff over and pick up Cooked as well. So for example, I have Giant Slayer. I could just respec Giant Slayer over into Cooked. But I do enjoy my defenses, and as you'll see at the end of the video, damage is not really a problem. Next, we're going to be speccing down to the bottom. We are using a From Nothing with Dance with Death. These, last I checked, were about a 1 divine, so they went back down in price. At some point, they hit a high of about 10 divines. Now they're 1 divine, and we're going to be using that to take Precise Point and Roll and Strike. I find that a lot of these nodes are wasted or not high efficiency, but these 2 nodes are insane. Precise Point and Roll and Strike. You can also use the Dance with Death to take Acceleration, which is a nice 10% skill speed. So these 3 notables are incredible using the Dance with Death from nothing. Next, we have our Falcon Dive. This is obviously the core of the build. I took the whole cluster. I had 2 extra points. As I was mentioning before, I had 2 extra points. Once I get 2 more, I will probably move them over to Cooked. We have our Versatile Arms. Very strong. Lots of scaling for one-handed weapons, which spears are one-handed. Next, you'll have Crimson Assault and Glancing Blows. If you are going to be moving through the bottom left to get to Jack of all trades, you can probably skip Glancing Blows. Glancing Blows is more of a min-max tier of speccing, where you want to get Lay Siege and Offensive Stance between your Anoint and your Megalo. So I have a Megalo with Offensive Stance and Blurred, and then on my Amulet, I have Lay Siege. So we're able to take significant advantage of the increased block chance from Glancing Blows and scale that into damage. You could also manually spec up here, but it is 9 points. However, it does afford you 30% more attack damage through these nodes while you're specking through. So, things to consider. Obviously, you can see I don't have many points. And that is mostly because I have Heroic Tragedy. Anyway, let's finish it up here. Pinpoint Shot. This does give you quite a bit of accuracy rating from your crit chance. This works really well. Giant Slayer. This is, you have extra points. You can spec into Giant Slayer. It does take 5 points. Obviously, we have our Crit Diamond with a Time Lost Emerald. And then we spec up here, take Eternal Youth. This is personal preference. But life recharges instead of energy shield. So you know how you have energy shield recharge where you don't take damage and then it recharges. That happens to your life instead. Life recharges from flasks applied to energy shield instead, meaning that our flasks will recharge our energy shield. So if I'm losing energy shield, let's say I just...
I'm no scholar.
Oops. There we go. So, you see, my energy shield will not recharge naturally, but I have to flask to recharge it. This way, we don't have to wait for our energy shield to naturally recharge. We can just pop a flask whenever we take damage and top it off. If Grim Feast was still a thing, I would just run Grim Feast instead of taking Eternal Youth. So here we are. Those are our 3 keystones. We have a 4th keystone. We're taking Resonance, but because I have a Heroic Tragedy, this becomes ES % per 2 strength. The 2 Heroic Tragedies that we found, so we went through about 200 of them. The 2 that really stood out were the 3208 and the 4519. The 3208 with the Verana line has been by far my favorite. This gives us 2 physical percent together. So for 5 points, we get 80% increased physical damage, as well as 40% increased mana regen. On this cluster, we have 40% ES and 30% accuracy rating with some magnitude of bleeding. We have the Verana to get ES percent for the extra strength that we're building, and we have an attack speed slot here. So this has honestly been my favorite one to run. We also have the 4519. This gives us melee damage and accuracy rating, so all our damage is melee. And a lot of accuracy rating, so we have accuracy, accuracy, and accuracy. So this gives us 90% accuracy rating, which will really push how fast we go. I would love to show you just how high we can push the attack speed, but I unfortunately don't have much gold. Too much testing. I come down here, pick up Moment of Truth, Crushing Waves, and Mindful Awareness. If you are not running your Heroic Tragedy, so if you don't have those nodes, those notables, you can take more points in the Dorito. We are running a very strong defensive setup or hybrid defense setup, so taking more nodes in the Dorito up to Immaterial works really nicely. You can also take Throat Seeker. This is a nice node. Exposed to the Storm, also very nice node. You can also take, and then if you don't want to spec through the right here, if you don't want to spec through the right because it's a lot of points, you can also go through the left, up through here. So this is instead only 5 points. Sorry, 6 points. Then there's a nice node Blinding Strike here. It is a decent amount of attack damage. You also have High Alert for a lot of evasion rating. And then there's also Subterfuge Mask, which is a very nice node to pick up if you're going to push a high ES helmet. So there's some nice nodes on the left that you can also pick up. On the right as well, this is more offensive-oriented, Exposed to Storm and Throat Seeker. I personally am not running Throat Seeker because I don't have a great spear. I have a good spear, not a great spear. And losing 20% crit chance is not feasible as well. Another node that you can pick up is Staggering Palm. This is nice as well. Just a reminder that if you are going to be running High Alert, this is based on full life. If you are running Berserk or if you are running Tangle Tongue, this will not work. So just FYI. Other nice nodes to take, obviously Cooked is very nice. Catalysis is decent, but it's also only 2 points. So it's not too far either. You can also take Tainted Strike. But the magnitude of non-damaging ailments with critical strikes will not really apply to our build. You can take Giant Slayer if you're lower level. You can grab Giant Slayer early. Jack of all trades is nice too. You have some different options if you don't take the Heroic Tragedy. So why are we running Crimson Assault? This is not a bleed build. One thing about Crimson Assault, and the reason why we spec it, it's only 1 point for this pathing, is that Blood Hunt scales off of how much bleed the enemy has on them when you use it. And the nice part is, so even though we're not a bleed-focused build, Rapid Assault guarantees a bleed on the final stab. And because of how fast it attacks, this loss of bleed duration really is irrelevant to us, as we can keep up the bleeds for a significant portion. And instead, we can just keep stabbing with Rapid Assault. This is going to give us a lot of combo very quickly for Culmination. So we practice combo and then Culmination. This will give us a lot of combo extremely quickly. Apply bleed to the enemy because Rapid Assault guarantees a bleed. And then the aggravated bleeding from Crimson Assault will help push our Blood Hunt explosion damage up because it consumes the bleeding on the target. So your basic combo for bossing, you just hold Rapid Assault for a little bit. You build up a bunch of combo. Infernal Cry, Blood Hunt, boss dies. And that's it. That's your combo. And Crimson Assault just helps push that as well. There are some nodes such as fast-acting toxins. You can push bleed faster here. As well as increased damage with hits against enemies affected by ailments, which includes shock and bleed. But the duration of damaging ailments is not super important, but the magnitude is nice. So this is one option here, and then you also have Deterioration. and this is magnitude of damaging ailments. So there are some nodes that you can pick up as well to help with that bleeding and to push the damage of Blood Hunt higher, because in the end that is your big kind of one-shot nuke for bossing. So that covers the skills, covers the gearing, and covers the passive tree. Let's talk a little bit about variants. First off, I did try quite a few different techniques for bossing damage. Our original build was based off of Primal Strike, because there was a bug where Culmination's combo count was not reducing. So how it worked is that you would just build up a quickly combo with Rapid Assault and hold Primal for the rest of the fight. And then you would have 70 to 100 combo on Primal, and it would just do a ridiculous amount of damage. The problem is, Primal is a 3-stage attack, meaning you have 2 little hits and 1 big hit, and Culmination will get consumed on the little hit. So going Primal did not feel very good anymore with the change in Culmination. I did try Explosive Spear because Rapid Assault does apply spearheads in the enemy, and then you can detonate them with detonator skills. So I did actually try Explosive Spear. Didn't work super well to detonate that. We also tried Twister, so we can apply this and then use Twister. Twister felt like a lot of RNG, and no matter how much I scaled the Twister damage with this build, I couldn't get it up to a point where I was happy, as in it would still take multiple rotations to kill Zesht, which is not ideal. We also tried going... so we did Twister, we did that. Blood Hunt was what I found to be the most efficient use, as it still allows us to take advantage of our high attack speed for Culmination into a one-shot attack. Or one big hit nuke cannon. So, yeah. Regarding other variants, I also tried running Trinity as a Spirit Gem. So Trinity, it gives you more elemental damage with attacks per resonance. This is the main reason why I have this rune slotted in, to gain extra damage of all elements. I had tried with having only physical damage built in, no elemental damage on any rings, any gloves, nowhere else was there elemental damage on anything. Then I slotted this rune in. I was hoping that it would keep Trinity at full stacks. Unfortunately, that does not seem to be the case. Trinity just did not really stack up to all the full resonance. So that did not work very well. In terms of Blasphemy, you can run Conductivity, which will benefit your Whirling Slash. Conductivity will also benefit your Ambrosia on Blood Hunt. And obviously any lightning damage you have on your rings. Otherwise, your other options are to run Vulnerability. This will help with your damage on Rapid Assault. But otherwise, I don't feel it's terribly relevant. You can also go Temporal Chains, and this basically gives you 2 slows, because your Whirling Slash and your Temporal Chains will slow. This is more of a survivability layer. And then Enfeeble is also to reduce damage of enemies around you. Again, more of a survivability layer. So you have 2 damage options. I personally go with Conductivity. And then you have 2 survivability layers, depending on how you are feeling with that one. Next, I think I quickly mentioned it before, Tabula Rasa. Because we don't need evasion from the body armor, Tabula Rasa can be a nice way to get a lot of damage very quickly, as well as still stack more and more evasion rating. If you are going to go Tabula Rasa, I would say that Subterfuge is a must. And then you probably want to have higher evasion rating on the gloves. Something like this, 533 evasion rating. And then with your Tabula Rasa, you can really push a lot more on the evasion rating. Next we have Deepest Tower. Deepest Tower is another very, very strong damage buff. If you are going to be going Deepest Tower, the reason for it is that enemies in your presence count as being on low life. This allows you to spec into Stars Align and Finishing Blows. All these nodes here give very significant damage increases against low life enemies. And we have lucky damage, or lucky attacks. This lets you re-roll attacks, so if you've ever played Baldur's Gate, if you're attacking with advantage, this basically is saying that all your attacks are attacking with advantage if you're running Deepest Tower and the enemies in your presence. So you roll twice, that means your crits are re-rolled, the damage roll is re-rolled. Very strong for overall damage. This is a huge damage buff, Stars Align. All for running Deepest Tower. You do take a big hit on defensive layer. As you can see, there's only 75 energy shield. But it is also significantly easier to get a high spirit Deepest Tower than it is to get a high accuracy, high energy shield, good suffix, spirit helmet. So, Deepest Tower is amazing for damage with this cluster. They also fixed the bug where Finality was not able to be allocated before, but now it is able to be allocated. So you can't get this on Megalos, and you can't allocate this on Amulets now. So Finality is another 120% damage multiplier, additive obviously with the rest of your nodes here. So Deepest Tower is incredibly powerful. So we covered Trinity, we covered all of that. Next, let's go show how the setup works. I'm going to go into Act 1 just to show the differences and the reason why you see that we have a lot of Set 2 stuff spec'd. If it would let me... Oops, that's probably why. So you'll see that I have Wake of Destruction. So one of the options for setting up your Whirling Slash is to use Wake of Destruction. So you see we applied our lightning. I'm going slowly so that I can see an enemy. Here we go. So you can see we have 20% shock on the enemy. This is because no matter how much shock magnitude we build, Wake of Destruction applies a default shocked round value. Next we can go with Thunderous Leap. And so now, let's go find another enemy. There's one about to pop up. I killed him. And now you can see we have 49% shock. This means that we have a significantly higher multiplier, and this is allowed because we have Frazzled on set 2. So we've Frazzled on set 2. Also picked up a couple points here for shock magnitude. And the reason, so all these green nodes are to scale area of effect and to scale shock magnitude. There is also another area of effect node here, but for 5 points to get 10% increased area of effect, I didn't like that trade. I would have rather just picked up more shock magnitude. So, things to consider. You can also, so this is 4 points here, spent in here. You can also spend 1 natural point into this attack damage node, and spend the other 4 points to get the area of effect. You lose a minimal amount of shock magnitude, 20% magnitude of shock, which only comes out to about 4%, in exchange to get 10% increased area of effective attacks, but you do need to spend a real point for that. So, again, things to consider. Test it out, test what you feel is more comfortable for you. So, Wake of Destruction is really good, quick, cheap to apply your shocked round with. If you are running something like Sekhe, because keep in mind when you're Whirling Slash, when you get outside of the range, it collapses. Doing this whole setup over and over and over again is quite tedious, meaning that for Sekhe, I actually just fully leave on Wake of Destruction. That means I will always have out my shocking value, my shocking Whirling Slash. So, there's benefits to this, benefits to the Wake of Destruction. Otherwise, also the other thing is, I have every skill gem slotted, and the unset ring even. Regarding the reason I have Frostwall is because you can set up your shock round with Frostwall. So Thunderous Leap does require you to jump on something and crit with Shocking Leap. The Frost Wall allows you to do this setup without having enemies in range. This is just generally safer, especially for stuff like Breach or Simulacrum. You can set all this up before any enemies spawn, and then you can carry it for the rest of the run. And then you can always take Frost Wall off and swap in whatever else if you need to. So, Wake of Destruction means a boot swap. Thunderous Leap means that you have to dedicate a whole skill gem slot for that, but it is quite a bit of a damage difference. So, again, do what you can. And lastly, let's talk about Megalos. Megalos, there's a lot of different notables that are quite good. On my Discord, I do have a trade link with all the Megalo notable combos that I recommend. There are some that are much more budget, and depending on your budget and how much power you want to push, obviously you can start unchecking some of the weaker notables. Not all notables are created equal, obviously. One thing that I've noticed is that Battle Trance is very underappreciated. So this is maximum rage. Very generally, these notables are Megalos with these notables are very cheap, and because we have Font of Rage on our base Whirling Slash, and because we can carry that with us, we always are going to be capped on rage. So Battle Trance is a very nice notable to get. Generally, they're very cheap. Generally, they are quite cheap. So consider that as an entry as well. Obviously, for me, I have my offensive stance, Blurred Motion. It's pretty much ideal for this build. And like I mentioned, I have a whole list of different notables that I find very strong with this build. Some better than others, but as you can see, it starts going up very quickly in price, depending on what you want. Now I have Lacerate here. The reason I have Lacerate and want to talk about Lacerate is that similarly, we are building Crimson Assault. I tested Simu 4 with my current build, all my current gear. I did not have a problem with the mini-bosses. If you are running a weaker build, likely the mini-bosses will be lingering along longer, especially in like waves 12 to 15. The mini-bosses will probably be lingering around longer than you would like. And then you can consider putting Lacerate support in your Whirling Slash. What this would allow you to do is build up bleed with your Whirling Slash. So as you're just circling the arena, build up bleed on the mini bosses with your Whirling Slash, and then you can pop them with Blood Hunt. Generally there's you'll get around 100 to 200 combo in Simulacrum before the mini bosses spawn, especially on those later waves. So building up a little bit of bleed, then you Blood Hunt, it'll just nuke the mini bosses with Blood Hunt. So that's one thing to consider. When you're at the point where I am, you don't need this support. You'll deal enough damage to kill the mini bosses in 1-2 seconds just with Whirling Slash anyway. Next, on the topic of Whirling Slash, again, you're going to have to play around with your own build and how it feels, but Whirling Slash consumes a lot of mana. I'm only on a 9 plus 3, so 12 total, and mana consumption is decently high. Obviously, when there's enemies to leech from, this is not a problem. But for things like, for content such as Sekhe, where you can go long stretches of not attacking enemies, this is starting to be more relevant. Either you will have to flask more often, because there's no enemies to leech from, or you can go with a lower level Whirling Slash. So I actually have a 6. There it is. I have a level 6, so I can go 6 plus 3. And I also have a level 17. I have a bunch of different ones just for different content. It's not ideal to have to swap between things, but there you have it. So I have this level 17. And for Simulacrum, where you don't have a lot of movement to do, but you have a lot of enemies to constantly be leeching from, a higher level Whirling Slash is very much recommended for that kind of content. So I believe that just about covers everything for the build. This should be quite exhaustive in terms of how you can spec, things to consider. Remember, read the max roll. I should have everything there, especially written out in the notes. And hope you enjoy. Hope you enjoy the build. Hope to see you out there whirling around. Remember that the goal is to move fast. You can always drop a little bit of attack speed here and there and push more pure damage. So, but if at that point, Blood Mage with Lightning Spear and Rake is incredibly powerful. We have 55% move speed boots now. Not that they're cheap, but they do exist. So do consider that as well. I would also say it's cheaper to run Blood Mage than it is to run Whirling Slash. So that just about wraps everything up. I'm just going to play clips of content at the end of this video. So that covers all of the management and such that you can do. So I will just be doing a little bit of... I will do a map and I will do a Breachstone to end the video. Peace and thanks for watching. One thing is that you can swap Bullseye and Rapid Assault. So Bullseye goes on Rapid Assault, so we can attack more quickly and build up combo quicker. This is nicer for... it's nicer for the purposes of pinnacles, but otherwise for general mapping, I would not recommend it. As you can see, we can still very easily keep up with our Breachstone anyway. So I would only really do this here in Breachstones, just to make Zesht faster if you're gonna farm Breachstones. Otherwise, leave everything as is. Especially for mapping, map bosses, you will not need to do this swap. Just use Rapid Assault as is. Don't swap. But if you're going to be going up against T4 Pinnacles, I would recommend the swap. So we took damage for the first time. And as you can see, my energy shield is not automatically recharging because of Eternal Youth. So I would have to flask to recharge that. You will, depending on your gear, you will have to play around with this more. Figure out what kind of combo count you need to kill bosses. So I built up to about 278. This should probably be overkill for my current build. But yeah. You just spam Rapid Assault, Infernal Cry, Blood Hunt, and you're done. I moved my tabs and dumping stuff in the wrong spot. So there's a quick Breachstone. Now I can do a quick map. I just don't want to play temporal chains, just like nobody wants to. Thanks, GGG. That looks pretty good, actually. We'll just run this one. Remember, I'm just going to leave my speed on Whirling Slash. Oh, I just realized I didn't even turn Berserk on for the Zesht kill. Whoops. Remember to swap to get your bigger AoE. So, we are swapped. There we go. And now you can turn on Berserk. Berserk can kill you, so do be aware of the dangers of Berserk. If you are going to be using it, it does sap your life, and it does sap your life, which can kill you in exchange for life leech. So you do get life leech out of it, which is how I am sustaining my health. Unfortunately, Eternal Youth's recharge, the damage from Berserk is considered, will stop your recharge from Eternal Youth, so that natural recharge just gets wasted. And you can see how quickly we're moving through the map with about 7 attacks per second. Keep in mind, you do get stuck on everything with this build, so one of the tips that I recommend is that you hold WASD in the direction that you want to move in. That way, if ever you do get stuck on something, I'll show you here. So here, I'm stuck on this little corner. I'm going to be holding, in a situation like this, I'm going to hold W. And so I would let go of Whirling Slash, and I would hold W. It would walk you forward just a little bit to get around that obstacle. And we get to continue whirling around. I did the same last league with Tempest Flurry. So if ever you see me stop whirling, it's most likely for that reason. So you can see, again, we already cleared this out because I'm backtracking here, and my mana's disappearing quite quickly. Keep in mind, he always explodes at the beginning, just for safety. Oh, I can't even hit him yet. I didn't even Infernal Cry, and we killed him with, like, 20 combo. You probably could kill him with just Rapid Assault, but anyway. And there you have it. Remember, Berserk can kill you, so if you're not able to leech from anything, you can either collapse your own Whirlwind, or you can just toggle Berserk off. And then it'll recharge. Otherwise, let's say you don't want to toggle this off, but you don't mind doing another quick setup, you can just toggle. So if you're looking through your inventory, doing something else, then you just do another... you can just do another... swap. Realistically, for mapping, you should not need Berserk. So if you want to just leave this entire slot free and not bother with it, totally okay. And there you have it. There's a map, there's a run. I'm actually not going to use either of them. And I'm going to run this Barria on video. But I will run Wake of Destruction the entire time. So remember I was mentioning, mana is more annoying. So I'm actually going to be downgrading myself to a level 6. If you're going to be running a lot of Sekhimus, you'll understand very quickly why I do this. As mana costs get a little bit ridiculous. Oh, I already had one in. I forgot to get Blink. I'll do it. I'll do it at the end of this floor. So again, you're going to see that I'm not even doing the swap to the AoE build. Just because constantly doing that change is going to take time. Every room, and we generally don't need it. You know what? I'm going to go get my Blink now. Don't know where I put it though. So remember, your Blink will brick your Whirling Slash, which is one of the main reasons why I'm wearing Wake of Destruction the entire time at this point. On Hourglass rooms, not necessarily the worst idea to do a full setup. So swap. Now you have a bigger setup. And you can cover more area. You are going to be sitting in here for way too long, because they made Hourglasses obnoxious. I know casually Hourglasses are probably your favorite, but for speed, you definitely don't want to see these. Free boon. Why not? Again, if you want to save time, avoid those Hourglass rooms. So as you can see, we can make our way very quickly through Sekhe. We don't really have to pay attention or particularly aim for anybody, as Whirling Slash will take care of that. One nice thing is that we are not reliant on movement speed boons, on movement speed relics, which are the most expensive relics to buy right now. We can just whirl around at our leisure. Anything that's reduced movement speed is no problem either. We did end up cleansing that just now, but there you go. As we call that in the business, a lucky ritual. The gauntlet probably would have been slightly faster. But it would be pretty close. I don't have a gold key, but time loss can start spawning as a floor 2. So again, there you probably would have seen me stop whirling as I held a W and D to path around that enemy that was in the ground and body blocking me. Failed blink, unfortunate. That was a rapid assault only. As you can see, the combo count did not go down. Oh, we got it. So you're going to see that I passed up and spent more on the other boon. And then took the free purchase from the merchant. The reason you would do that is so that you can remove the free merchant one from the pool. Types are somewhat irrelevant for us. One thing to be aware of is that, as you can see, it can be very difficult to see stuff traveling on the ground. This can make you more susceptible to projectiles, especially if they appear from off-screen from enemies that you can't even see. One thing in particular, the frost wraiths in Sekhe that really have some projectiles that blend in very well with the floor already. And then it can just be even more difficult with your Whirling Slash covering stuff up. Free boon. Alright, let's pick up where we left off. Generally, gauntlets are the worst. This is the easier one. If you have ball lightning and lightning warp, you can completely skip this entire room by doing ball lightning from here. Obviously, as you can tell, we don't exactly have too many skill slots left. So here you have it. And I have Adrenaline Vial, so there we go. We are entering Zarokh with max honor. I'm going to see if anyone wants a free carry. Okay, that's enough.
Whatever comes my way, I'm ready.
This battle is our sacred duty.
comes my way, I'm ready.
Okay, so we go area. Whoops, I forgot to change my boots. Here we go. Area. That. Thunderous. And now we have our nice damage setup. And set up Berserk. And turn on Blasphemy.
Rage against the shackles of fate, if you so desire.
Messing with time. Oh, this is fair. Wind fury.
The sun shifts so jolly.
You can wind back all you like. Makes no odds to me.
There we go. Easy peasy. So I get a lot of comments of whether this build can carry people, so hopefully that clarifies that you can carry people with this build. And that's everything I have for today for you. 2 time loss, 3 time loss, 4 time loss with 1 gold key. Okay. Mysterious chests can give you more keys, so you can always take a quick look at picking those up. And there you have it. That's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you next time, and hope to see you out there whirling. Ciao.